welcome to another episode of the Carnatic Traveler. In this particular episode, we are going to discuss about Shruti. Most of us are familiar with the saying Shruti Mata Laya Pita, which means Shruti is like the mother and Laya is like the father, and both must coexist for music to take life. So what is a Shruti? To put up in a nutshell, Shruti directly corresponds to musical pitch. So it is like a plane of reference on which a rendition takes place. There are two types of Shruti, the Panchama Shruti and the Madhyama Shruti. Of course, there is one more which is called the Nishada Shruti, but the usage of it is quite rare and is more raga centric. The Panchama Shruti is where we take the Madhya Sthai Sajjam as the reference point. So the Panchama Shruti goes by as Pa Sa 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 Pa Sa 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 Pa. That is a Madhya Sthai Panchama. Sa Sa Tara Sthai Sajjama. Sa Madhya Sthai Sajjama. Whereas in the case of a Madhyama Shruti, we take the Madhya Sthai Madhyama as the reference point, and it goes by as Ma Sa 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 Ma Sa Sa Sa. However, most of the compositions are rendered in Panchama Shruti.
The instrument that is actually used to play a Shruti is a tambura. Tambura is classified into three types called male, female, and instrumental tambura, which is popularly called as tanpuri. Nowadays, as a matter of convenience, we use an electronic Shruti box instead of a tambura to play the Shruti. The electronic Shruti box, popularly called as the electronic tambura, uses the sounds of an actual tambura that were sampled, recorded, and plays it in a loop according to the desired type of Shruti and frequency.
Every time we practice or rehearse, we must always begin by singing the Shruti. And this is in order to set our boundaries and get acclimatized to the Shruti. Sa So let me give an explanation of what I actually did. First, we touched upon the Madhya Sthai, which is the middle octave. Sa Pa. And then we went to the Tara Sthai, which is the higher octave. Sa. And then we came back to the middle octave or the Madhya Sthai. Pa. Sa. And then we moved to the lower octave, which is the Mandra Sthai. And then we come back to the Madhya Sthai. So this is how a Shruti is to be sung.
When a musician or a vocalist says that their Shruti is 6 or 7, then how do they actually arrive to that number? And how do we understand and gauge their Shruti? To understand this, let's go a bit more in detail and know about the Shruti nomenclature. Best way to explain is by using an octave, which other words is sthayi of a keyboard or a piano. The first note here is C, or in other words, we can say that the bass note is C. It is also very important to understand that the white keys correspond to 1, or in other words, a tone, and the black keys correspond to 0.5 or a semitone. In Carnatic, we usually call them as Oru Shruti or Ara Shruti, or Oru Kattai or Ara Kattai. Henceforth, C corresponds to 1, C sharp or a D flat corresponds to 1.5, D as 2, D sharp or E flat as 2.5, and so on. Hence, when a person says, "My Shruti is 6, then it actually means that their Shruti is A. And in turn, the bass note or the first note Sa is actually A, and their scale shifts as shown in the picture.
For male, the Shruti is usually around 1 or 2, which corresponds to C or D, and for female, the Shruti ranges from G till B, which is from 5 to 8. No matter what Shruti you're singing in your most comfortable Shruti, you should be able to touch the Tarasthai Gandharam and the Mandrasthai Panchamam at ease. For beginners, it's extremely important to practice Shruti for at least 5 to 10 minutes every day. Now let's talk about some tips and tricks which can help you get a hold of your Shruti. So the first tip. The first and foremost thing is to have a visual representation of your Shruti. Like, this is where my Sa rests, this is where my Pa rests, and so on. And it is very important to also be mindful of the gap between Sa and Pa. It is very important to also take time to listen to the Shruti from the Shruti box or Tambura, because it automatically gets into your mind. It is very important to set your boundaries right, and also try to jump from Sa to Pa to Sa and so on. So this is how you can try practicing it. Sa, Pa, Pa, Sa, Sa, Pa, Pa, Sa, 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 Pa, 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 Sa, 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 Pa, 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 Sa, 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 Pa, 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 Sa, and so on. The possibilities are endless. And the last tip. Try to extend your Sa, Pa and the Tarasthai Sa as much as possible. Try to stretch it as much as possible. So use a timer for reference. Just be better than the previous day. So if you have liked this video, do hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe to my channel.